All right, coming up the next hour, we're going to have Owen Schroyer on the ground reporting live. We've got some of the very important reports he's filed last night, catching the buses being brought in by the SOROS group and others, with the organizations pledging to stop Trump from being elected or from being actually inaugurated. And we also have CNN, you name it, saying, what if there's a nuke attack? What if there's a drone attack? Other publications, The Hill, you name it. And, well, Obama will have to appoint the next president, and then there'll be a new election in Homeland Security with their people who federalize the election. They will oversee it. Ladies and gentlemen, you're supposed to have separation of powers, not just legislative, executive, judicial, but between the federal and state governments. It's called federalism. And people misappropriate the term federalism, meaning the feds are all powerful. No, federalism means it's equally shared with the states with a little leg up on the feds. That meaning the state legislatures, they elect, that gives them real power, U.S. senators. In 1913, same day we got the income tax and the Federal Reserve, late at night, they rammed that through. And now we live under it. So the balance of power shifted. You could argue it happened after the Civil War, but it really happened after that. It was a federal power grab for a while, but it failed and actually strengthened the states to a certain extent after their rebellion. Now, well, look at all these Homeland Security helicopters flying outside the window. It's quite a scene. Maybe next time they fly by the monument, Buckley, you can punch that up. It's amazing out there. In fact, instead of looking at my ugly head, let's give people a Washington Monument shot for a minute or so. I think the helicopter's about to fly back into view.
And I believe that up there to the right, and we'll get a shot of that, is the post office hotel that Trump rebuilt.
Oh, yeah, there's Trump's hotel. Yeah. And we ought to go do a report in his new hotel. He did a year early and under budget.
Isn't that amazing? Unlike government work, where everything's way over budget. Right now, they're having a crisis in California with this bullet train they keep wanting to build. It's hundreds of millions of dollars over budget.
Yeah, that's why we can't ever have anything like the Japanese or the French, not that they're perfect, is there's so much corruption.
Yeah. They just bilk it. And that's a big Democrat thing. They love to grab into those money pits
Harry Truman.
And just siphon it all off for their little campaigns and their friends and parties and dinners. But they don't ever build anything. They don't ever do anything.
Yeah, how about we build an incredible spaceport? Right. How about we like build the future instead of just running around acting like thugs? Have you seen the arrogance around here by these people?
It's amazing.
There's all these guys in black trench coats and $100,000 Rolexes. Not that a Rolex is bad, but they just think they're God, just stomping around. And it's like, even if they have a $100,000 a year job, they just act like they're arrogant, so that's their power. And I'm not saying, you know, it's bad to make $100,000. I'm just saying that they're embarrassing how arrogant they are.
It is. And then you walk around D.C., and what do you see everywhere? Not even with the security that they put up. Walls, fences, so everything's secure. It's like, we're the government. We can be secure. You can't be.
That's right.
That's the big attitude. You can't have a gun.
You can't have a border.
Yeah.
By the way, in Austin, because I was trying to buy a condo, so when I have family come into town or whatever, we have a condo. I kind of live outside town. I need a place in town. So I went around everywhere where all the new condos are being built, and I was like, I want a condo community that has a gate. Mm-hmm. And they went, oh, the city council won't give permits for about 5 years for those. You didn't know? They don't give gate permits anymore to build. They think we should all just be together in one community. And I went, are you kidding? If you go over to Terrytown or the elite areas, there are 12-foot gates, 10-foot gates, and then gates around the houses.
Right.
And they have a 1 minute, because I have friends that live in Terrytown, 1 minute. I mean, you call the cops, they're there in 30 seconds.
Yeah.
I mean, where I'm at, you call the cops, it takes them 5 minutes, which is fine. We're not bad. I mean, the point is, the average is 12 minutes. I'm talking 30 seconds. They say 1 minute. So they have a 1 minute police response time in the rich areas. They call it the government district. See, this is all unspoken, but it's actually in the law in Texas. They got laws passed where Terrytown and the government district of downtown, only part of it, is under Texas COG and critical infrastructure, what they call that. And it has its own power in the grid. It's hooked into the main grid, but it doesn't lose its power when there's rolling blackouts to keep other people from losing power. They keep their power on.
All right.
So they have better police. They have better power. They have everything, bro.
And let me tell you this. I talked this guy I sat with on the airplane. He's a real estate developer. He said they're building 2 new hotels in Austin, and they have no parking. They have 4 parking spots out front, 4 handicap, and that's it. They won't let them build new parking. And that's all. And I'm telling him about Agenda 21. He's like, oh, I don't know. I said, you're sitting here explaining to me what it is.
2 foot deep swimming pools.
Right.
They're phasing everything
Coffin
out.
apartments. He mentioned the coffin apartments. He goes, yeah, they're really small. We call them coffin apartments. I said, that's Agenda 21. That's to get everybody out of their cars.
By the way, that's my term.
Everybody into the city.
What I love is I brand the stuff 10 years ago, but I'm not bragging. It's just we can fight in the war is what I'm saying. Yeah. We can call it not luxury micro. No, it's a freaking coffin apartment where you pay on average 6-7 times what you would, per square foot for something much better. They're teaching you to go, oh, I love my coffin apartment, instead of having something big and nice, while they live in palatial mansions.
Exactly. That's the difference. They don't do what they say we have to do. They don't live in the micro houses. They don't
notice they make the hotel fancy and cool that it doesn't. Right. Oh, this hotel has dry urinals. It stinks. Isn't that elitist?
They also set up, he was telling me, they set up these poop chutes for the dogs. They cost $1 million, and the dog goes on it, and it goes down to the sewer. So people don't have to walk their dogs anymore. They could just bring them up to wherever they're at, and it just goes right down.
Sounds like hell.
It's really weird.
Sounds like hell.
But he mentioned, about the regulations and getting the stuff done and how it was hard in the 80s. He's been doing it since the late 70s. And this guy was super rich and a big Trump supporter, but he was Egyptian. And he got singled out at a Trump rally, the one in Austin. ABC sat down next to him and asked him a question like, oh, what do you think about Trump changing the wall plans? What do you think about, he goes, and they asked him about something else. He goes, well, I think it's fine that people can change their minds, that he's not just, it's my way or the highway. He can be talked to, he can be reasoned with. I think that's great. And the guy asked him a bunch of more questions. They didn't put those on the air. And later he goes, where are you from? He goes, I'm from Egypt. And the guy's like, he just got all mad that he wasn't giving him the answers he wanted because he saw a perceived minority, when this guy is, probably one of the
well, let me tell you, if you're a Muslim and you want to have a nice house and have your daughters not have to wear hoods over their heads, and you just want to live in a free country, that's the thing. Actually, most Muslims are heretics. They don't want to be under this crap. That's why we're like Iran. I mean,
oh yeah.
They have internal polls they've done. Like 70% of Iranians love America.
And they do. And they
do not want to be under this stuff. They do not want to be under this stuff.
Well, and this guy also mentioned about the Christians. He's a Christian. He goes, Christians are the ones who build the roads, who are the doctors, who keep everything running in the Middle East. And there's 30 million of us out there, and we need help. He goes,
it's the same thing in Latin America. It's the Amish that are in South America, and they're the ones who aren't corrupt. So everyone survives off them.
And they live off of them and bilk them, and then they're blamed.
It doesn't matter whether they're white or whether they're Lebanese Christians. You see, it's cultural.
Yeah.
And I don't mean the fake megachurch folks. I mean the real Christians are a stabilizing force in any country. It's well known.
Exactly. And he was repeating that over and over again. I'm like, yeah, exactly. I said, and our government is going out there and causing the Muslims to get up.
And of course he knows that our government 4 years ago overthrew Hosni Mubarak.
Oh yeah.
And then they killed tens of thousands of Christians, blew up hundreds of churches, were crucifying Christians upside down. And then the Muslims revolted and overthrew it. They didn't want that.
Yeah, exactly.
Because guess what? As soon as they ran out,
they realized stuff wasn't working.
They ran out another million Christians, and all of a sudden, the trains weren't running on time.
Yeah, and there's no doctors, and there's no lawyers, and there's no business people, and there's, nobody's doing anything except the ones who are just running around, cutting people's heads off. And it was amazing to hear him say that, being from the Middle East, coming here in the late 70s, but going back and forth and seeing what it was like, and just hearing him talk about the Egyptian revolution. I said, well, that was all our government. He goes, I know. I said, so why don't you think because he didn't believe that they'd killed bin Laden way back in the day. He had never heard about the bin Laden story from the Jerusalem Post or Figaro, where the CIA came to meet him. I sat there and read the article to him. I'm like, look, here it is. Bin Laden was on dialysis. He was gone. There's no way they took him out back in.
See, I'm glad you did that, but you should have put it on tape.
I know. He didn't want me to be.
You guys spend so much time talking about it. It's not on air. It needs to be on air.
Yeah. Well, that's why I'm sharing the story. And
you're always better in person. You're better than I am as a talk show host in person.
I think he is. When
you host a show by yourself, you're not as good.
That's because I work off you.
No, you do a great job, dude. You do better than I do. I'm serious. I hear you all day at the office. You and Knight walk around educating people smarter than I am. Then you'll never do it on air.
Oh, I'll do it on air.
You're doing it on air right now.
I'm doing it on air now. So we got to share these stories.
Will you do it live? Like Bill O'Reilly?
I will. I'll do it live. I'm going to be out there live in a second. I'm getting my gear together.
What's coming up with the 14-hour broadcast? I'm going to skip this break. Last one of the day. I'm being bad. But it is a big celebration. It's my show. If I want to flush thousands of dollars every few minutes, I'll do it. Here, tell me what's coming up tomorrow.
Well, tomorrow we're going to start at 8 a.m. and go to 10 p.m. And I'm sure you're going to have us go longer. So it'll probably be 14 hours plus. But we've got David Knight, Leanne McAdoo, Margaret Howe back in the studio. Ashley Beckford will probably be popping in, Darren McBreen. And then on the ground, we're going to have Owen Schroyer, Millie Weaver, myself, Kit Daniels. You're going to be running around during the inauguration. And at some point, we're going to get back in here and broadcast for, I'm sure, an extended amount of time talking about the events of what are going on that day. We've got some special guests. I believe Salente is one of the guest hosts for the hour. I don't have the full guest list, but I'm sure Nico will text it to me here in a second. But it's going to be an amazing experience to share with everybody out there who can't be here, even though there's going to be 1 million or so people here who are pro-Trump and probably another 300,000 who are anti-Trump.
And, of course, the big news is they are coming out now and saying that a lot of the protesters aren't showing up.
Yeah. Yeah, the J20 people said they have scaled down their blockade schedule. They've scaled it down because, and Zimmerman found that this morning and read it out. Zimmerman, if you can find that tweet again, wherever it was.
No, I know. I saw the story.
They literally say
the reason they're scaling it down is most of the people that are legitimate leftists were Bernie supporters.
Yeah.
I've had Bernie supporters all day come up to me going, oh, we like you, Alex. We know Trump's good now, wanting to cut prescription drug prices. And he's not going to do it in a Nixonian way with orders. He's just going to bring competition in. He's going to say, I'm not going to let you sell the drug in another company for less, and then you claim, oh, it's your drug, you own it. You're going to have to sell it for the same price if you do it here. That's called competition. Or I'm going to let them import from the other country your stuff you're making here, selling to Mexico or selling to China, and then bringing back. Plus all the tariffs and stuff that China's got on us internally. He wants to bring back. We're going to have all these drugs and stuff. You're going to make them here.
And it's already happening.
Or you're going to pay a damn tariff. Again, folks, that's not protectionism. We've been screwed over. Come on over, Zimmerman.
Yeah, I love the fact that Trump has just gone out and said, he's made all these announcements, and he's not even president yet, and companies are changing their tune. They're keeping jobs here. They're bringing more jobs in. The guy from Alibaba said he's going to make 1 million jobs. 1 million jobs. And these are going to be good-paying jobs. And when people see always what about these tax cuts?
This is globalism. They set up the highest taxes in the world. The big corporations did because they wanted to only move to China to screw us.
Yeah.
Trump makes the tax the same. All these other globalists, are going to be forced to then just understand that they're going to have to bring jobs back because it becomes a free market.
And when you have more people paying less taxes, everybody doesn't have to pay as much, but we still can have all the things that make this country great.
And let me add something that's absolutely key. A lot of people that are at Davos, a lot of people that follow globalism, it's because they're bullied into it, like Peter Thiel. If a lot of people do not like what's going on, once there's solidarity and support for real free market, which Davos claims it's selling, once the real thing comes, the counterfeit doesn't have anywhere to be. It's exposed. It's thrown out in the cold. So there's a lot of people in the system that do want to do the right thing, but there's no way they can do it because the public wasn't awake. We had to be awake. We had to start the movement towards nationalism and real competition again to break the globalist monopoly of crony capitalists that they claim is free market. No, the Heritage Foundation and globalism is not free market. And it's another great mental screw job how they claim they're the great protectors of that when they're the opposite. Now, I want to play a clip here because I mentioned this. I want to go to a new fail video. We've seen a bunch of these that are kind of recycled. They're powerful. But this is a new one because it goes back in time, not just to right before. Let me just go back here. Not just to right before the election, but a year before. Video shows how media hacks howled with laughter at clown Trump. Let's play this 3-4 minute clip. Then we're going to come back and get into Owen Schroyer on the ground with the globalist minions being bussed in. Here it is.
Actually running for president of the United States.
There are no words. How do you even have a straight face right now? There are no words to describe what just happened.
Ed Rendell, do you have any doubt that this is anything more than a carnival show?
And you watched that speech today, we all laugh about it, and I'm sitting here laughing out loud, for the entire, front part of the show here as we're talking about it.
I mean, it was a rambling mess of a speech. That said, it was very entertaining. I was howling.
He's got gumudgeons of money, he's got a lot of recognition, and he just became the 12th presidential candidate for the Republican Party. Is it typical Donald Trump fashion, or is it hilarity run amok?
This morning, some Republicans say they're worried Trump will turn the campaign into a circus.
Party leaders worry Trump's presence will turn the primary into a joke.
America's largest Latino civil rights organization called Trump an exceedingly silly man.
Donald Trump is a fool.
Hell froze over, and now we're stuck in the ice with Donald Trump.
Chuck, you and I have seen this public dance from Trump before. I guess the question is this candidacy for real? Will it be significant?
It's like I can't tell if this is politics or if this is just PR from a celebrity.
For the National Press Corps and other elites, Donald Trump's campaign is a pure vanity exercise and a target ripe for outright mockery or low-level derision.
Cut, done.
On the one hand, he's a late-night joke.
Half an hour, the most beautifully ridiculous jibber-jabber.
On the other, he's the proverbial skunk at the garden party. How does the Republican Party handle a political streaker who knows how to get attention?
Sadly, the biggest buzz surrounds Donald Trump. How to take Donald Trump? Well, consider the newspapers this morning, at least the tabloids. The Daily News considers Trump a clown. The New York Post considers Trump a rich guy who could make it to the White House.
I do not hate Donald Trump, but I do not take him seriously. I thought, you know, everything that was garish and ridiculous about him was fully on display. Unconventional? Will people who love him love it? Yeah, but will it get him anywhere close to becoming the nominee or the president of the United States? I think not.
I think there is a vein for him to tap, and he's going to get some serious votes. He can't win, but he can get a lot of votes.
While no one expects Trump to get close to winning the nomination, that doesn't mean that they're happy he's in.
I mean, this is the problem with Donald Trump for Republicans. Of course, he's not going to win. He probably will make the main stage. He'll be one of the top 10 vote getters just because of name recognition and our obsession with stardom. The problem is he's going to be a flamethrower. He has nothing to lose.
But he says the most provocative things, like when Mexico sends its people, they're bringing drugs, they're bringing crime, they're rapists, and some, I assume, are good people. What is your strategy, and how can you succeed when you say things like that?
Well, you can't, again, Gail, if the question is how can you become president, you can't by saying things like that.
Can we stipulate for the purposes of this conversation that Donald Trump will never be president of the United States?
Monument first. And ladies and gentlemen, here we are with the Washington Monument out the window as we're off of Pennsylvania Avenue. We're going to have Owen Schroyer coming up in about 15, 20 minutes from the ground right in front of the Capitol where the president-elect will be inaugurated at 12 noon tomorrow. They're having fantasy dreams on CNN and in other TV channels of the dinosaur pile of garbage media, the Decepticon traitor media. They're so evil, I have to mention all their names. Kind of like the devil has a string of names, so do they. The Abomination Desolation, the Old Worm, the Old Dragon, the Black Serpent, Beelzebub, Baphomet, Satan, Lucifer, the Morning Star. Well, they've got a lot of names themselves, don't they? And we're going to be there covering it all. And they're hoping that somebody kills Trump so Obama can appoint a new president. And then they're going to have a new election that Homeland Security runs, totally unconstitutional, over the state governments. Just that's not how federal law works. But Homeland Security wrote a letter to the Associated Press 2 weeks ago just saying that's the way it is because Jay Johnson says, and, you know, Loretta Lynch says, I don't care what law says. I'll get on the plane with somebody under criminal investigation. I don't need no stinging badges. I mean, that's how it rolls.
And then say we talked about our grandkids.
And you've got all these
Total
greedy,
BS.
crazy bureaucrats and lobbyists and corporate people. I'm not saying they're all bad, but we've seen them. A lot of them are like snakes. They're like Wormer Grimewood or whatever his name is.
Bremer Wormtongue?
Yeah, absolutely. Another Lord of the Rings analogy. I was asked by Vice, why so many Lord of the Rings analogies? I don't really watch the movies much, but they're okay movies. It's just funny archetypes.
The archetype characters.
Yeah, the archetype characters. I mean, these people are panicking. They're scared. They're crazy. And all Trump wants to do is cut spending by 10%. That's because every economist says if we don't do that within a couple of years, we will be like Mexico or Venezuela. It's over, folks. We're going over the edge of a cliff. Sorry, D.C. You know, the average D.C. bureaucrat is making millions of dollars a year on everybody's backs. We can't do it anymore.
And if you cut our taxes a little bit and increase the employment levels, you're going to see more money. You're going to see more money than you can spend.
Dumbasses.
It's going to be amazing.
Then you can skim even more off the top. And I'm not saying that's a good thing, but a real smart mafia guy wants a big, fat, juicy pig to bleed. These people are in competition with flyover country and hate average people having any wealth. So they're so dumb, they want a big, poor country to rule over. That's what third world jackasses do. That's what everybody did before the Renaissance. In Europe, Dark Ages lasted 1,000 years because the elite wanted to keep people poor and didn't want them reading books and wanted them dumbed down. And you're trying to bring back the Dark Ages. Guess what? We don't want it. We don't want it. We don't want the Dark Ages. We want the light.
We want the
Understand?
golden age.
We want it right now. We want it right now. It's like Tony Montana says, hey, just like your President Jimmy Carter says, I want freedom. I want it now. I want the world, Chico, and everything in it.
And the $500 suit.
Look at that pelican, fly pelican. I think we should have Tony Montana for president. Hey, seriously.
Yeah.
It isn't me like that having Trump president.
I love the way that moment when he called him out as fake news. Did you see that live when it happened?
We played it like 10
That
times.
was freaking amazing.
I know you're on vacation in Colorado.
No. I was actually watching it real time. I rolled it back and we shot a video. And just watching that in real time going, oh, my God, this guy is going to be president, and he's calling CNN fake news. And when we landed at the airport, they had some CNN story with Obama, how he's just not happy with Trump. And if he sees any meddling in the election, he is going to speak out. They were the ones meddling with the election. That's the funny thing. They were the ones doing it.
Now
so speak out, Obama. Speak out about your own meddling.
Now, I was corrected on a video I did like last week. It said like, I forget the hell, it was like, 6 states hacked by feds, and I was corrected. It's 11 now they found that the feds broke into.
11. I only knew of
And in
3.
some places like Georgia, they broke into dozens of computers.
Georgia was hacked big time by DHS, and they go, well, maybe it was a rogue employee. Maybe we don't, and then they never come back with an answer.
And then now DHS fails. We're like, we need to fully take control of it to keep it safe because the Ruskies are so powerful.
And the only way they found out about other states is the guy in Georgia canvassed all the other states and said, did any of you guys report any of these problems? And 3 or 4 wrote back, said, oh, yeah, we had the same thing happen. They were going in and probing our databases, probing the databases, looking around. But what happened in Georgia was unprecedented of what happened. They were going around like 2 or 3 times, one on the day of the election, going into the voter rolls and messing with stuff. They don't even know what they did at the end of the day.
All right, I'm bad again. I didn't get to any clips. We're going to come back with the clips, I promise, or Rob can punch me. Look, I'm not going to sit here and say, see, I told you so, that communist Chinese-style net censorship was coming to the web, because it's already here. It's being announced. The way you keep the internet open and free is you get involved more than ever. Go to Infowars.com/app. A new battleship in the fight. Infowars Live, available right now. We're looking for a crew to man it. You going to sit down and play games and be a trendy? Or are you going to be part of history? Don't sit by and let the internet and free speech be stolen from you. Take action.